been noticing something about myself, and I have a feeling I'm not the only one. Between all the doom scrolling and social media, we often feel like we're losing ourselves. We're losing our personality. When I spend a lot of time on social media, I realize that I can remember this person's drama. I know their pet's name. I could tell you details about people I have never met. But if you ask me what I actually like, what I actually want, and what my goals are, I hesitate. I think we can all agree that we often feel like we're an audience member in everyone else's lives, while getting more and more disconnected from what we actually want from life. And that is not a small thing. So that is why today I'm gonna talk about exactly that. How scrolling is stealing your personality and what you can do to get it back. So you can feel vibrant again, so you can feel that spark, that creativity again. And before we get into it, you guys know I always invite you to join my free weekly newsletter called Aligned. There, I go deeper on things like nervous system regulation, dopamine, attention, and focus, and I send out emails every single week. So if you want to join, the link is in the description. Alright, so first, I want to talk about all the different ways I've noticed that scrolling is stealing your personality. And then we're gonna look at how to get it back. How to get back your personality. Here is the first reason why scrolling is stealing your personality. Because it's comparison on steroids. When we are constantly on our phones, I notice that we ask ourselves this one question way too often. How do I relate to others? Where do I stand compared to them? And obviously, comparison itself isn't new. It's a completely natural psychological mechanism. It's always been part of being human. What is different now, though, is that we are surrounded with comparison everywhere. Even when you go to the bathroom and take your phone with you. In the past, it used to take a little bit more effort to compare yourself to someone else. It was less unconscious. And now it's happening all the time, everywhere. Comparison on steroids. It takes zero effort, it's just there. It happens every time you unlock your phone. And so that question, how do I relate to others, isn't in the background anymore. Like, it's everywhere. It's pressing on us constantly. And when a question presses on you that hard all the time, you start doubting yourself. You start thinking that there's something wrong with you, when in reality, there's obviously nothing wrong with you. The problem is we're all surrounded by constant comparison 24/7. And speaking of things we use everywhere, it's not just social media, it's email too. Even in the middle of summer, work doesn't actually stay at the office. It follows you to the beach, to the coffee shop, to the airport, to all the places where you would rather be present in. Today's video is sponsored by Superhuman Mail, part of the Superhuman Productivity Suite. And it's the tool I've been using to make my inbox feel a lot less chaotic. Its AI handles the repetitive parts of email, so I spend less time digging through my inbox and more time actually enjoying my life. It's summer right now, so I think we can all agree that the worst feeling is when you're about to head to the beach and then you suddenly remember that there is a long email thread with your team that you never responded to. I work with a video editing agency on this channel, and I can tell you guys that those email threads get super long very quickly. Feedback, revisions, all this back and forth. Now I use Ask AI on my desktop to summarize the whole thread and draft a response to my editing team in seconds, instead of sitting there scrolling back through everything to remember where we left off. That means I can actually close my laptop and get back to my day, instead of mentally drafting that email in my head while I'm supposed to be relaxing. The same thing happens with collaboration emails. I get messages all the time from brands that would like to be featured in my videos. And usually my first step is connecting them with my management team. Now, with Write with Voice on the mobile app, I speak the response and it's ready to be reviewed and sent. So instead of that email sitting in my inbox until I'm back at my laptop, I can handle it in 10 seconds and go right back to my summer activities. So with Superhuman Mail, you can get back to summer faster and make your email feel less overwhelming. You can sign up for Superhuman Mail today and get 1 month free by using my link in the description or scanning this QR code on screen. Alright, so the second reason why I think scrolling is stealing your personality is because of what I like to call the growing gap. The more we consume, the more we notice that there's actually a huge gap between where we are right now and where we would like to be. And that is not a bad thing on its own. The problem happens when instead of taking action, we choose to scroll more. We choose to be entertained more, and we choose to consume more. And that is exactly what's happening, and that is exactly why it's stealing your personality. You know, we save so many things on social media, and I've been noticing this in my own patterns as well. I buy a course or I save different posts because I want to make this specific recipe or do the specific workout, and I never actually take action. I scroll because it helps me look for inspiration, and personally, that's the part about social media that I truly enjoy. I'm not anti-inspiration, but action should always be on the other half of the equation. We should never forget about taking action. I'll give you a couple of my own examples. A few days ago, I bought a course on how to cook seitan at home. How to understand seitan when it comes to the science of making food. Because I'm vegan and tofu and seitan are a huge part of my diet. And so now I understand that I actually need to take some time out of my day to, go through all the course materials, watch all the videos, and actually cook seitan according to all these different rules. In yoga, for example, I'm learning how to do this difficult transition. It's called a jump back and also, honestly, a jump through. It's very common in Ashtanga yoga. And on social media, I can find you hundreds of examples of people who can flow through these transitions effortlessly. And when I watch all of those videos, it makes me feel like doing that, jump back should actually be easy because all of those people can do it so well. So why is it taking me forever to actually learn how to do it? And the answer is because it's a difficult skill to learn. Those people, they have dedicated, years, decades to their practice, and that's why they can already do it. But watching someone else do something effortlessly is obviously always going to be easier than doing the hard, clumsy work yourself because you're a beginner and you don't know, where to begin, and you don't know if you're doing everything correctly, and you don't know when you'll be able to do this specific skill effortlessly as well. Consuming gives you a dopamine hit without asking anything of you. You don't have to do anything. Just lay there on your couch and continue scrolling. And the danger is that it doesn't teach you the one thing that is actually important: how to do hard things. To actually get up and do them. Not just think about doing them, but actually do them and, experience all of those uncomfortable emotions and learning how to regulate yourself. And when you don't take action, the gap between where you are and where you want to be just starts growing. And instead of feeling inspired, we start feeling paralyzed, and it's completely natural. We feel extremely scared to take the first step. Alright, so now I want to talk about the final reason why scrolling is stealing your personality. We buy instead of taking action. When we finally decide that we want to take action, we want to take up a new hobby or learn a new skill, we go straight for the consumerism dopamine instead of actually doing the thing. We buy the gear, we buy the outfit, we buy the equipment, we buy all the different things that are going to help us practice that hobby successfully. Instead of asking ourselves, what can I use that I already have? Because my goal is actually taking action, not buying and getting all of the dopamine from buying things. Because when it's actually time to do the thing, we feel a wave of resistance, we hesitate, we feel like we don't actually want to do it. And here's why. Dopamine doesn't come from actually practicing the hobby. It comes from imagining how you will feel and who you will become once you master the skill. Buying the gear, the equipment gives your brain a real reward right now, and you don't have to work hard for it. It feels like progress even though you haven't done a single rep. So now we've covered all the different ways in which I think scrolling is stealing your personality. It's time to take a look at how to get that vibrancy back into your life. How to feel like you're reconnecting with yourself. You're actually, embracing your personality, and you're helping yourself learn different skills and take up new hobbies. So the thing that you can do here is you can de-romanticize the observed life. I think when we spend a lot of time consuming and watching other people's lives, we start to romanticize them. We notice all the amazing things about their lives that we lack, we don't have yet, and it feels like our actual life is missing the same romantic feel. And obviously the same thing happens when you start doing a hard thing. You watch someone who can paint a beautiful picture. It seems like they're doing it in a very effortless way. But when you sit down and, grab all of your paints and you want to paint something, it feels extremely difficult. And it makes you feel like you can't romanticize the process, when in reality you can and you should. So what I propose is de-romanticizing other people's lives. And it's different from inspiration. Because inspiration is great. You can obviously, look at Pinterest, follow other people. I follow a lot of people myself, and I am on social media. I'm not telling you to never use a smartphone ever again. I'm just offering little mindset shifts. So what helps me is de-romanticizing other people's lives, realizing that it's just social media. And yes, those videos look beautiful and amazing, but it's not the full picture of their lives, because a full life is way more complex. I'm only ever seeing the finished, edited version. And so when I remember that part, it helps me go and romanticize my own life instead. Find those small and real and romantic moments that my own life is already full with. And the next thing you can do to get your personality back is remind yourself that everything is figureoutable. I heard this word recently and I absolutely love it. It really helps you take the pressure off. And because of the comparison on steroids, we often feel a lot of pressure. This word, figureoutable, sounds a bit silly, but that's exactly why it works. It makes the process of achieving your goals feel lighter, not something that you have to, push through. And if you don't push through it, you're absolutely going to fail. I can tell you guys that in my YouTube journey, there has been a lot of comparison and self-doubt. In the past, I often demanded that perfection from myself, and I never allowed myself to think of recording a video as something that I could figure out. I thought I either do it perfectly or I failed and I can't do it. And that is not a great approach to achieving your goals, because life is way more complex than, you do everything perfectly or you quit. Instead, you figure things out along the way. Because today I'm recording this video and, I feel a certain way. Tomorrow I'm going to be recording a different video and maybe I'm going to feel different. Maybe, the whole recording process is going to be different. It's going to be super cloudy. There are going to be a lot of helicopters flying everywhere. The sound quality is going to be horrible. Who knows? I don't. And if I realize that I lack, knowledge, confidence in a certain area, I can always figure it out. I can always learn more. But I can only learn those lessons when I go and take action, when I go and do the hard thing. That is where the joy actually is. Not in already knowing everything, not in making sure that all the processes in your life are always 100% perfect. The joy lives in reminding yourself that you can give yourself that time and space to figure things out, to let your personality show up in the process. And I've got to be honest with you, to be able to do that successfully, to approach everything in life from this point of view of, okay, it's figureoutable, it's fine, I'll figure it out, you need to work on regulating your nervous system first. Because when I wasn't prioritizing regulating my nervous system, I couldn't really imagine approaching life from this point of view of like, it's okay, everything is figureoutable. Because everything felt like a threat. You know, if it's not perfect, then I failed because my nervous system was so dysregulated. So when you focus on regulating yourself first, on pouring into yourself first, figuring things out just becomes something that you do slowly, without pressure, and you realize that yes, certain things in life take a lot of your energy. And so how can I show up for those things and give those things my energy, and after that focus on, prioritizing my recovery and give myself all of that energy back. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, if you don't regulate your nervous system first, figureoutable starts feeling like another thing that you're behind on. It starts feeling like another thing that isn't 100% perfect. Alright guys, so let's bring it all together. For me, getting back in touch with your personality comes down to one simple feeling: presence. That moment when you stop observing yourself from the outside, narrating everything in your head. Like, oh my god, you're recording this video right now and you made this mistake. How could you? If your speech isn't perfect, can you even record videos? So when that voice, the comparison, quiets down a bit, the gap between you and what you're doing just collapses. You become fully present because you're in your body. You're not performing for anyone. You're actually doing something because that is who you are. Okay, that is who I am and that is what I do. That's it. And I think the problem is that we are watching so many other people every single day super closely that we haven't actually seen ourselves, like truly ourselves, in a long time. So I really hope this video gave you a few pointers, a few things you can start with. And if you liked today's video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to try Superhuman Mail, you can do so by clicking the link in the description. Today, I mentioned briefly your nervous system regulation and how important it actually is when it comes to doing hard things and when it comes to achieving your goals. So if you want to learn more about nervous system regulation, you can click on this video right here and I'll see you there, or I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Ciao, cacao!